Welcome, everyone. Once again, this is Stories of a Volunteeraholic. My name is Amy T. Meyer, the host, and today's guest is also a very special guest of mine. This is one of my children, Billy Hassert, and the podcast that my father was on, we said raising a volunteeraholic. This is raising in the other direction. So I always ask my guests, did you grow up in a volunteering environment? But I guess it's easy to say you did.
I did, yes.
Yeah. So when you think of growing up with me as your mom, did you like volunteering? Did you hate volunteering? Like, what was your perspective on it?
From a very early age, I had this sickness called being a morning person. I believe I got it from you. And some of my favorite times as a kid was waking up early in the morning and we go to rallies or something for Nordstrom's, and then that naturally eventually dovetailed into different volunteer projects with Dash Center and things like that. And it's just kind of what you get used to at an early age.
Yeah. Do you think of, over your lifetime, and you're getting up there in age, son.
Okay.
Is there any projects that you're like, this was my favorite project? Like, I really enjoyed doing this.
A lot of the stuff that involved environmental cleanups that we did were definitely my favorite. I'm definitely a big forest ecology and animal rights person, and so whenever our mutual interests happened to overlap in that way, it was definitely my favorite. Like when we did trash pickups alongside, I forgot what street that was, and around the Port of Tacoma with the Art of Hip Hop people. And what I'm wearing today is similarly dovetailed into that, which is for the Unleashed Stadium Bowl, which is raising money for a no-kill shelter in the area. Things like that have always piqued my interest a little bit more.
I agree. So when you guys did the Port of Tacoma, it was with Citizens of a Healthy Bay, was the organization that worked with the Dash Center at the time, just to give them kudos on. I liked that project a lot as well, because it taught the kids what invasive species were. You got to speak with some of the kids on explaining like why we eradicate invasive species in different areas. And you're always great with bringing historical, not just anecdotes, but just
Context.
Yes, historical context on, sometimes even where the invasive species, like why it's in our area.
Right. Like Eleanor Roosevelt's love of Scots pine, stuff like that.
Right. Which, she's a huge hero for me, but this is one thing she got wrong.
Not everybody is everything, and she just happened to not be an ecologist.
Right. And nobody thought, oh, geez,
right.
If you bring them all across the U.S., there could be some, reasons why you wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
And, she was like, oh, it would be so much prettier.
Right. And, there's reasons why it made sense. Soil erosion along the sides of highways, as you said, beautification, but just ended up not being a great call.
So I think of the Unleashed event shirt that you're wearing that's in August, and you as you shared, it's for a non-kill pet charity, but it's really interesting. They want to do right now in our area, we have an overabundance of cats.
Oh boy, do we. Yes.
And why is having too many cats, a problem? Like, what does that do for our environment?
Oh, God. So cats are, and let me put it this way. I love cats. Unfortunately, there's too many of them in everywhere. So almost 10 bird species go extinct every couple years now, and house cats are primarily the reason to blame. Same with small rodent species. They just kill everything. They're made to kill everything. They're very good at it. Unfortunately, they've got two main traits, being adorable and being murderers, and those overlap in a way that tend to harm American birds. And so spaying and neutering them is really just the most reasonable thing we can do. We can't go out here. As I said, I prefer no-kill shelters. So just educating people on that and trying to get the neutering in place as much as possible is the only reasonable thing we can really do. But yeah, they just decimate bird species. It's depressing.
And I also think what is the other is keep them as house cats. Was that the other thing?
Oh, yeah. If you have them already, keeping them inside is definitely the preference. And I say this is the best cat in my life was named Hobbs. And we kept him outside all the time because we didn't know better either. And he killed a lot of birds. But best you can do is better than you did before. And if I ever have a cat again in the future, I just keep him inside.
Very good, very good. And it's always good to improve and learn and grow, right?
Right.
And I think of the projects that I have seen you help with, I love it when you get invested. And that's probably why the one with the Citizens for a Healthy Bay was really impactful to me, because I saw that spark in your eye where you're educating and contributing and finding your niche. And I think, like with the Travis Manion Foundation, taking this one project that is not like iconically Travis Manion, but we have supported this this gentleman doing this thing that is really good for the environment and the physical fitness aspect, because you run all the stairs of Stadium Bowl and it's like 13,062, something like that, and it's a very brutal physical event. And see you go, Mom, this is the thing that I would like to help organize. This is the area that I can support in, because it falls in, my value system, my, ethos, all those kinds of things. And I was like, great, let's do that. That makes sense. And so Billy's going to help coordinate the course marshals, I guess is what we do. And, you might be working with Brian a little bit more, but it'll be neat just to kind of see the evolution of that project, I guess. So other than that, are you talked about some of the other places that you volunteer? Because you volunteer away from me,
Yes.
and some of that is kind of cool to hear about.
So I've been involved in pretty nondescript and disorganized examples of mutual aid, which involves people like me, normal working people, giving what money we can to help create some sort of food package, usually for the homeless. And we'll go to an area where, like a tent city or something like that. And like one time we made burritos, another time we made bags with couple sandwiches and a whole bunch of first aid supplies in them, and we'll just distribute them, no questions asked, no sign-ups. We're not official in any capacity, really. But things like that, just working people trying to help other people struggling, is vital to the country continuing to exist in a friendly way to itself. There's large scale of division happening on it feels like every level of this country right now, and just going to the people who need help the most during this troubled time really helps bring people together. I see in these homeless camps, I see people of every political persuasion, but they're desperate and they need help, and that's something that can really break barriers for the type of arguments that really bog people down nowadays.
Yeah, I think that is a challenge is the divisiveness, if I can say that correctly, of people these days. And I do think kindness will be the bridge. I know a lot of people put a lot of clout in politics, and
I do. But there still needs to be humanity as the mutual factor. Otherwise, the politics are just an excuse to be mean to somebody. If you're not doing it because of the love of the people, then you're not doing it from the right place, no matter where you're coming from or no matter where you're going.
well, and I think that's true. I just meant I'm a little bit more, what's the word? Pessimistic.
Oh,
I don't
Lord.
feel like politics are going to be the solution to anything.
A concept called pessimism of the mind, but optimism of the will. You can understand that and look around at your situation and see that things might not be going great, but your actions should still reflect a hopeful future, because otherwise that's going to be doubly impossible. If you let the negativity of the world around you, the very real negativity that can harm and hurt and degrade you, if you let that turn you into something that degrades the world around you as well, then the negativity won in the darkest way. You've got to let yourself be happy and use that happiness to help work towards betterness. Like that's why I like things like Unleashed and Mutual Aid and things that focus on real world positivity now. Like, what are the animals we're saving now? Who are the people we are saving now? What food is getting in what bellies now? Because tomorrow is going to be built off of the empty stomachs of today. Whether that it creates more anger down the line, or people remember, hey, I saw people who were not like me feed me when I was at my darkest point, then they're not going to be as hateful of a neighbor in the future, period. No matter what side you're on.
Well, thank you for that. I think that's a beautiful sentiment. And I think I do feel like right now it is the time to work, the time to go shoulder to shoulder and to put as much aside as we can in order to fill needs, to get kids the support that they need to. It's not just normalizing mental health, it's reteaching what real mental health looks like,
Right.
and mental wellness, and making all these things like you said, trying to reduce the judgmentalness of people, because it's not helping us be better. It's not having a high standard, it's
Right.
actually having the lowest standard there is.
Right. Like when giving out those first aid kits, turned away people if they had political stuff I didn't agree with. Like if somebody's wearing a hat or a pin, I'll be vague. And I turn them away, then I'm just making somebody who has all of the same opinions they already did, plus added anger. And more angry enemies is not a positive thing either.
I agree. So now, we've shared that you're my kid and you were raised to volunteer. How are you raising your kid?
I try to raise my kid with values centered around a positive future, like I was just saying. And so I wish I could bring him to the Unleashed on August 3rd, but he'll actually be visiting his mother at that time. I'm really trying to raise him in a way that centers around curiosity and being able to fuel his own interests in that way. So I don't he is 8 for the record. I don't really try to instill the volunteerness in him. Maybe I haven't yet, I should say. But the values I try to instill in him are definitely ones of compassion and sort of a logical form of kindness that I think brings him around to these concepts already, if that makes sense.
Yes. And I think you do a really great job. And I also think, Grandma has him tag along to different
That's right.
projects.
She does.
So, which he's all enjoyed, and he is a joy. He is super, super sweet morning person, just like us, and all the things. Well, thank you so much for coming on my podcast and for your time. Is there anything else that you think people should know about volunteering?
Just that there is no not good enough with volunteering. If you're really having a hard time with mental health or physical health and you can only make it out like 1 day a year, that's better than no days a year. If you can only help 1 week, it's better than none. And any presence of goodness in that way is inherently positive. And if you're struggling, show up when you can, you know? Like, you don't need to destroy yourself to save other people, even if that means taking a knee and letting other people run the lab when that needs to happen.
I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Well, thank you so much. And as we go off, we always want, to let you know that Unleashed is in August. So
August
if you're
3rd,
interested.
Sunday, August 3rd.
Okay, Sunday, August 3rd. You heard it here. Definitely check it out if that's something you're interested in. Thank you, Billy, for being a guest. And everybody have a great day.